Hi, welcome to In a Pickle Knitting. My name is Donna. Today is Friday, January 18th, 2019. This is a podcast about knitting and other various crafty things that I do. And it's been a little while since I've been with you, about a little over 3 weeks. And I wanted to come back and talk about some things I've been working on and announce some prizes for some make-alongs that have ended and a new one that will be starting. So let's go ahead and get started. If you're joining for the first time, I hope there's something here that you like. And if you're coming back again from other visits, thanks for stopping by. So we'll start with finished objects. And at first I was thinking, I don't think I have any finished objects, but I actually do. So let me get those and share them with you. The first finished object I have is a pair of socks that I made from Cozy Knitter colorway with the 24 Advent stripes. And you might have seen these in different places. I've seen a lot of them on Instagram. They tend to all look different because you start in different places, and just the contrast, if you chose to put a contrast, makes them look really different. I saw a pair done with a navy cuff, heel and toes, and it just kind of matching up with that color, and it just looks so different and made me wish I had done that darker color. But I did use the yarn itself for the heel, and I'm thinking about taking that out and using this contrast. I think I might like the way they look even better with the green heel. But I have worn these several times now, and they're a good fit, and I like them so much. The next pair is also a pair of Cozy Knitter sock yarn, and these I had started and had planned to finish in for Halloween. This is a Halloween colorway called Frankenfeet, and it's purple, jade green, and black. And since I didn't get them done in October, I just kind of put them aside. And right as I finished these at the end of the year, at end of 2018, I thought, you know, on that. The second, I had one sock done and the other one was done down to here, just needing the heel and the foot and toe done. And I thought, you know what, I think I can get these done before the 31st. So I went to it and I did get them done. And I'm very pleased with these. They have a good fit. It's a slip stitch heel. And so these are Frankenfeet by the Cozy Knitter. So those are my first two finished objects, and the third is a little hat that I finished, and I kept this in this beautiful dodgy bag that was made by Allie of she's Starry Eyes Allie on Instagram, but she has the Little Drops of Wonderful podcast, and there is her very special pin that she had made, and she does sell those, although I think she's all sold out. But I had started off and made a hat that I've already shown you. That was this one, the juncture hat. So I had leftover yarn, quite a bit more than half of the skein. This is Queen City Yarns, and it's a DK weight. It's called Biddleville DK. It's in the Lost Princess colorway, which is a really pretty. I really like the color. That's fairly accurate what I'm seeing. So I made another beloved bonnet, and this one I think I did the toddler size. You might remember if you've been watching a while, I did make another one earlier at the end of 2018, and you'll see there's quite a size difference. This was the smallest size, might have been called newborn, but this is also sport weight yarn, and this is DK, and I don't remember what needle size I used, but I know this was done on a larger, probably 2 sizes at least. I have project pages for both, but probably 2 sizes larger. So you see it makes a lot of difference in the size. So I just love this pattern. It goes pretty quickly. If I'd started in the morning, I probably could have finished in a day. I started in the evening and finished it the next day. But it's by Tin Can Knits, beloved, and I think it was a new pattern maybe last year. So what I'm going to be doing is ripping this out. This one is too small. It's really too small for anybody, and I have a child I wanted to give it to, and I put it on my grandson. I thought, he's got a big head, but I just thought this is not going to really fit well. So I have cast on for another hat and I'm going to rip this out. And between what's already been cast on, what I rip out, and this, I'm hoping I can finish this other little hat. I have 3 patterns. I'm just trying to decide between them really which one will make it through the yarn. So that's my third finished object, is the beloved bonnet, which if you have a baby gift to make, I think that's a great gift, and very fun to make. I shouldn't have zipped it away. You start at one side with the I-cord and knit up, and then you end at the other side with the I-cord. So no ends to weave in really, because you just take your long thread and weave it up through here. So if nothing to weave in, and it goes quickly. It has that I-cord along the edge of the part that goes around your face, and then also this part that goes around the neck. So that I-cord edge feels very nice, especially in this really soft yarn. So I think that works out well for a gift. So those are my finished objects. Now let's move on to the things that I'm working on now, my works in progress. My lighting's a bit weird in here. It's been overcast the entire day, and then right when I came up here to do the podcast, the sun came out, and the sun comes from this direction through 2 windows over here. So I had closed the blinds totally, and then it started looking too dark because the sun's gone back behind the clouds. So hopefully you can see all right, and that the colors are coming through correctly. So the first thing I want to talk about is my Cozy Memory blanket, which I did talk about the last time, adding some squares. And I decided after I finished the podcast today, I had done enough squares that I should do one for every day in December. And then when I finished that, I thought I should do one for every day in January. So as of today, I'm exactly caught up with having put one for every day in December and every day in January. Not that I always put one a day. Sometimes I'll put 3, but today I'm caught up. So if I do 14 more days in January, including today, I think I have to include today, then I will have put one in for every day of December and January. And so then my plan is, if I can keep up, to do one in every day of February. Then in March, I will only have about 6 to go, and I am planning to put a border around it, so maybe by the end of March, I'll be done. I have not touched my Battenberg blanket because I was working on this, and that's when I saw that I could maybe actually get this done, because I tend to work on it in fits and starts. Like I'll do 24 and then sit it aside for 4 months. So I thought if I just do this and finish, maybe then I just have the one Battenberg blanket. That the crocheted something granny stripe blanket, that's like out of my sight. I will do it, but I just don't want to have 2 or 3 at the same time. So I can't really tell you what I've added to it, but I have started taking my advent calendar that I had this year from Adelaide Cottage and adding those colors, but then somehow I put some in the middle there that were in my basket and got mixed up and weren't Adelaide Cottage. So most of these are from I'm talking about these on the edge here, are from my advent calendar minis from Adelaide Cottage. And those are the last ones that I've added. So I'm at 144 squares right now. So it's 12 by 12. I want to make it 12 squares by 16. So 192 is my final number, and then I haven't decided what kind of a border. I've been looking at some of the project pages on Ravelry for this. This is the Coziest Memory Blanket Pattern by Kemper Ray. It's a free download on Ravelry. So I've been looking at some of the ways different people have finished theirs, and I have a couple of ideas. Maybe just picking up stitches and knitting on a, maybe 1.5 inch color border. I can't decide what color that ought to be. Or I remember seeing someone had done an I-cord edging. And I thought, well, that actually would be really nice. I think I'd like that. So I'm just trying to decide, what I will do with the Cozy Memory Blanket. But I did put a lot of work in since I talked to you last. I had been working on it, and I've put a lot more work into that blanket. So I'm hoping maybe by the end of March I will have a finished blanket. I'll be so happy. It just seems like something so useful and so nice to sit and look at and remember some projects you did or some of the minis that you've been given. It just overall making a functional project as well. So the next work in progress, I'm going to try to keep up with the dishcloth challenge this year that the Yarn Hoarder offered last year. She's doing it again this year. Last year it was all through Instagram, and I don't think, when I was listening to her latest podcast, I'm not sure she decided if she's going to do it on Ravelry or Instagram, but it really doesn't matter if she does it, or even if she doesn't do it. I want to do this where I make one a week. So I've made one, which means I'm 2 behind. But I am going to make another one today and another one tomorrow. And I'm going to keep Tuesday as my day, since January 1st was a Tuesday, that every Tuesday, from one Tuesday to the next, I've made one. So here is mine. I use the Granny's Cloth Revamped pattern, which is free on Ravelry. And I do have a project page for this. I named it 2019 Dishcloths, I think. So this is the first one that I've made. I am doing some, and I'm going to gift most of mine away. I want to do some for Valentine's. So this is a Knit Picks Dishy. This color is Begonia. And then this one is, it's too small, Blush, I think. And then I had this one as well. And this is called Pomegranate. So I thought I could get 2 sets of 3 with these 3 colors, and that might make a Valentine's-y little combo. So I'll make whatever I can, and hopefully I can get 2 out of each of the little balls. I use my Chai-Gu needles. This is one of the interchangeables on a fairly short cord. I think that's the 14-inch cord, and I use the short tips, and I like them just because they've got that sharper point, and it helps when you're doing the knit 2 togethers. It helps me quite a bit. And I'm keeping these, the 3 skeins and the projected needle, in this bag. And I've never shown you this bag before. This year I participated in the Christmas bag swap that was hosted by Molly Klein Designs and Deborah from Meanwhile at the Castle. She is Indigo Chickens, or Indigo Chicken Dolls. And she had done it one year, and the first year, and then last year I think the 2 teamed up together, but I might be mistaken on the first year because I didn't hear about it till after everybody was sharing their bags. But you just said you were interested, and then they did all the work to pair people together. You could make choices whether you wanted to participate with somebody internationally or not. And then once you were paired, you just communicated with your partner as to not what you wanted so much, but for instance, the person that I swapped with, she did not want her bag to be one that was just out of Christmas fabric, because she wanted something she could use all year. And I told her I didn't care. Either way was going to be wonderful. So she made this beautiful bag. Look at that fabric. I need to have it close so that you can see the texture in the fabric. And this bag is really cool because it has that magnetic closure, so you can snap it together. And she put this twill handle on it. And my partner, and I normally wouldn't share, but I did share this already on Instagram, so if you went to my feed, you'd be able to pull up the picture of this bag and all the little goodies that came inside, and find out. So I'll just give her Instagram name. This is Hunter's Ma, and she enclosed inside some minis, which are all in my blanket except for I think one. And she also shared with me some tags that you can put on things that you gift for your knitting. And on the back, it has how to care for it with those international, or, everybody understands the kind of symbols. a gorgeous pen, and you'll notice, if you can see right there, it has monarch butterflies on the pen. And I always keep a pen either in my project bag or in my Notions pouch because I really enjoy, or don't enjoy, but I like having something handy to write on if I on a pattern. She sent me some Tim Hortons. She lives in Canada, so the Tim Hortons is I've been to Tim Hortons before in Canada, and I think also in the upper part of New York. And then this cute little safety pin of Progress Keepers, and a little Canadian, a pin with the Canadian flag. And she also put some candy, but that's long gone. So the minis are all used up except for one. And the reason I didn't put that one in my blanket is because I think it's a self-striping. You know, usually you can kind of tell it's balled up. It kind of looks like a self-striper. And I don't put self-striping yarn in my blanket. I might make another one sometime, and because I have so many self-striping scraps. But in this blanket, I haven't put self-striping. I put lots of variegated and solids, but no self-striping. So anyway, I'm keeping my dishcloths in this. So I'll be having this in use all year long. And it's a beautiful fabric that can go all year long. And I didn't tell you, she essentially, not recycled, but reused fabric. She said these were samples from a fabric book. Have you ever gone into a wallpapering shop or a decorating shop and you have these books that have these pieces? This is what I'm thinking, the way she described it. It is, they have big sheets of the fabric. They want to have a piece big enough to show a repeat, and you can get an idea of, is that the fabric you want for upholstery or draperies or whatever. And she said a friend had this and she used that fabric from there. When those fabrics are no longer available, that becomes a piece of junk. It just fills the landfill with fabric. And I understand fabric is one of the biggest things in our landfills. And, you know, while lots of it is biodegradable, not all of it is. So I love that she used something that would have gone to waste. And look how gorgeous it is. So I love it, and I really appreciate having it. I'm going to be happy to use it all year long for my dishcloth challenge. So let's look at what else am I working on. Well, I have decided to do the Desert Vista Dye Works sock, annual sock challenge. I don't know what they call it. There is actually a hashtag. If you're interested, you can find the hashtag probably on my feed. You can find it at the Desert Vista Dye Works site as well. But essentially, you knit a pair of socks every month from entirely Desert Vista Dye Works yarn. And then if you manage to complete the first 6 months or all 12 months, there's special prizes available for you. So I have had this skein of yarn for at least a year and a half, maybe longer, and had never knitted up. And so I'd laid out a bunch of yarns to try and choose what was I going to make in socks this year. And that's like a separate thing. It turned into two things. I'm going to be using all of that, but then this skein, I thought, you know, I'm going to do that. So I've started a pair of socks, and let me show you the bag it's in because it's making some noise here for you. This is a bag I saw on Instagram, and I absolutely had to order it. This just is me. The colors, just the hot cocoa, everything about it I loved. This is from Little Robin Cottage, and she has a shop on Etsy. I think she's out in the Pacific Northwest, Oregon, I think, or perhaps Washington State. And she sells bags, and I don't know if she sells anything else, but I saw this and wanted it. The bag came so beautifully packaged, so I want to show you all the little details. Tassel that is a progress keeper on the zipper. And on this little hook D-ring on the side, it has another progress keeper that is a jingle bell. She has her beautiful card attached to it with some of this barber pole kind of twine. And there's all of her information. So I'm going to put it there and hope that that's clear enough for you to see. And not backwards. It looks backwards to me, but I don't think it is. This is a metallic fabric at the bottom, which I love, and then just all this little wintry, and I thought, yes, it has a Santa, but it's just wintry. the inside it's lined with that same thing. So I've got my Desert Vista Dye Work socks in here, and the colorway is If They Killed Daryl. And I did not bring the ball band up here. I know where it is. It's downstairs in the drawer right beside where I sit to knit. So one is done, and I've started the second one. So here is the first one. So you see it's 2-color stripe, but it's this dark charcoal, and then the other stripe is speckled. So you've got purple and blue and a neon kind of a green or a chartreuse, and you know, sometimes some other pops of different colors there. So I tried something new with this sock, and that's my quasi goal for the year in this club. I'm going to try to do something on every sock that's just different than I've done it before. So what I decided to do differently on this sock is to do a different heel. I've had the pattern for this heel for a couple of years. One time I started to do it, and I think because I was doing a contrast color heel or something, as soon as I started I thought, oh, maybe I should have started sooner. So I ripped it out and just put in a regular heel. But this is the Vanilla is the New Black sock pattern. And I'm going to put the designer up here. I didn't bring the pattern upstairs with me. I actually have it on the iPad that I'm filming with, and that's what I was using. Well, I think I put it onto Knit Companion there. It looks like this. Okay, so what happens is your stripes start getting thinner right here because you've got lots more stitches going around. But as you're knitting the heel, you keep knitting the front of the foot. And then when you're finished with the heel right here and you start to do the heel turn, the turn goes all the way till you are back to your original number of stitches. So that means there's no picking up stitches, there's no decreasing stitches with the gusset, but a beautifully fitting heel. For me, I have a high arch. The sock does not stretch across my arch, and that's what I don't like, is when you've got this fabric that looks a certain way on your leg, but across the front of your foot goes like this. I don't like that. It's not the feel, it's the look. Probably the feel too, but that's not what bothers me. So this doesn't do it. And then the toe, I decided to put, and this is a whole sock pattern, but I just really only looked at it for the heel. I did the umbrella toe from the Drippity Drop Socks pattern by Kay Jones at the Bakery Bears, and I've done that toe before, and I like it, so I just decided to do it. This sock, where it looks different, is the back of the heel. I'll stick my hand in there. Can you see that pattern that it makes? It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And because you were knitting along the front of the leg while you were making the heel, and then you don't have to do all those decreases, it seemed, you know, I was getting used to it here, so, you know, that part seemed a little bit longer, but it really wasn't any longer. And once I got here, it's like I was nearly done. I couldn't believe it. I just think it's brilliant. And this is the bottom of the foot, so of course when you're turning your heel, you're going to have, you know, very few stitches going across, so that gray stripe's really big, and then the other one's, you know, not quite as big, but that's the bottom of my foot. So it really just looks like almost an uninterrupted stripe pattern, and 2 ends to weave in at the beginning and when you finished up the toe. So I have started the second one, but I'm not very far. And I have till the end of the month. So I'm going to focus on actually getting this done so that I won't bomb out in the whole sock thing the very first month. So that's a work in progress. Now let's see what else I'm working on. I'm also working on another pair of socks. And I started this pair before I got to thinking about using that Desert Vista Dye Works yarn to do this little sock challenge. So this pair of socks, sorry about that, I had left something sitting too far for me to get it, and I forgot to show with the Little Robin Cottage bag that it also came with this little package with some the light bulb stitch markers, a candy cane, and a bag of tea. Everything was just so well done with that bag. very nice experience. So I decided I want to use, of course, my sock yarn, and I love to knit socks anyway. So I thought, well, what I'm going to do this year, I had seen other people put sock yarn into like paper bags and then the first of every month just grab one at random. And I was going to do that, but then I thought, I'm just going to let my grandson pick. So I laid them all out, I think 15 skeins, so that they're, you know, I have a little bit more choice even towards the end, and let him pick out a color. So he picked out this color, and I'm going to let you see him talking about it here. All right, Cooper, which socks am I going to knit first this year?
Mario on the oil bread.
Okay, those are the ones, and that's by Artistic Lily. So if you didn't catch that, this is was from A Mystery Sock Club, Agatha Christie's Murder on the Orient Express, and this picture is the inspiration for the yarn. It came inside of this in the plastic bag and tied with this pretty red ribbon, and also came with this Earl Grey tea that's Agatha Christie. Isn't that clever? So it came with this, and it has a 20-gram skein for the heels and toes, and then the main skein, which was 100 grams. Here's her label, Artistic Lily, and it's Murder on the Orient Express colorway. It is 385 meters, 400 yards in her Gotta Have Socks fingering weight yarn. It's an 80/20 super wash merino nylon. Okay, so that's Artistic Lily, and she offers these, you know, at different times. This is the only, it's not the only yarn I've purchased from her, but it is the only sock club that I did. Just, you know, can't do them all. So here's the main color, and you can see from that inspiration, it's got the light and dark blues and blacks in it. And then the mini skein is red. I have one sock finished. And I did, I do my socks on a size 1 needle. I did a slip stitch heel, and I did the umbrella toe also on this sock. And I started the second one. I'm to the point of putting in the heel flap, so I'm ready to pick up that contrast color. And I have started to not always, I used to do all my socks 2 at a time, and I've just, for some reason, I think it's just, you know, all the yarn management and the needle management. I don't have second sock syndrome. I might feel like doing something else, but I just always want it finished, so a finished pair. So since I'm not doing them at the same time, not doing 2 at a time, I am putting in the little stitch markers here to know where I did everything, because that's one of my problems, forgetting to write down. But I did on my project page every time I wrote down, okay, how did I start this? Not that, you know, it's any different, but sometimes you just do one little tiny thing different and they look slightly off. So just wanted to be sure that I made a matching pair. So I've got these in my little sock bag here that was done by Whimsy Stitches, and I picked this up when I was at the SSK retreat this past July, and this was Whimsy Stitches was at the marketplace that they had, and I purchased this along with a little notions pouch, and it has a little handle, and I like that clear. It's very nice to just look and say, oh yeah, that's what's in that, because sometimes I forget. So that's a work in progress. Now let's see what else. This is the Bags by Awesome Granny Fireflies bag. And earlier this year, she was so kind as to gift me a bag, and also have one for the podcast. So I chose the Swan bag, but and our gift was this bag. But then I just couldn't. I just still missed that bag once I had to send it away. So I ordered one for myself, and I also ordered the Notions pouch to go with it, because this is a large bag, and I really wanted to. I have several Notions pouches, and I like to have one right in there. So I ordered that. What I'm working on is a shawl, and this is going to be the Amazing Day shawl by Hoki Locatelli, and I purchased this pattern as a kit from a House of Yarn in Nashville, Tennessee, and this is again when I was at SSK, and this came with yarns from, let me pull the tag. You know, as organized as you want to be, you just can't keep everything, so it's just so handy because you don't have a crew here. Oh, I think I put it in the notions pouch trying to be organized, and then I forget I do these things. Yes, here it is. So this is Backyard Fiber Works made the kit, and the main skein is in the colorway Dove on their sock base. It's 100% superwash merino, fingering weights, 400 yards. And then there is a set of minis that comes with it. And it was called the Graphic Pop set. There were 6 mini skeins, and there's a color Cast Iron, Storm Cloud, Seed, Orchid, Natural, and Silver Spring. Now the Orchid is the bright pink in this collection. To me, it has an orchid look, but I would almost call it like a raspberry. Not that it doesn't matter. It is what it is, right? So I've only just started, and it's gonna, shawls are always so hard to show, but I'm gonna show it upside down. It is one of those long crescent shawls, and it is made with a lot of short rows. And so I wanted to be sure I had all the colors in to show you, even though some of them look really, really similar. These two are different colors, and as are these 3, and then there's the contrast in that, what I say looks kind of a raspberry. As you can see, I'm not very far. When I was reading people's projects over in Ravelry, a lot of people said, oh, it's car knitting, and then, or, totally, memorizable. And I'm just starting, and I'm thinking, oh, no. Not that it seemed, terribly hard, but I thought, I'll never memorize it. But I'm actually to the point now where I think, okay, now I know what they were talking about. This would never be car knitting for me. Not that I do a whole lot of car knitting, but all I can do is knit. There's no way I would be doing yarn overs because I know I drop them when I'm sitting in a chair sometimes. So not car knitting for me, but that doesn't matter. I don't knit in the car much. So it's going to be long and narrow. Maybe if I do like this. I have made little mistakes. I don't know what they are, really. My stitch count is off. And I have decided I think it is not really going to matter on this shawl. I think one thing I did was, when you're doing like a knit 2 together yarn over, knit 2 together yarn over, or something similar to that. Your brain, or my brain at least, can get to that place where you're, you might be thinking yarn over, knit 2 together. It's just, it's whatever your rhythm and patterning is. And I think I left off the last yarn over in that sequence a couple of times. Okay, so I still think it's gonna work out all right. I think maybe I forgot to do an increase someplace because I am several stitches short, but I'm just gonna keep going. I'm not gonna take it back. So that's what I'm working on. I like the colors, but as I was knitting, I realized, you made a shawl. I made the Villa shawl, which is a Helen Stewart pattern. It was from the Second Shawl Society. It's a long wrap. I did it in white or off-white, gray, and more pinky color than this raspberry. But I thought pretty much the same color families. But we like what we like. You're just attracted to things, and then you start thinking, oh, I've already have 3 things. Once I was looking at some shawls I had done all together in a row from my project page, and I thought, there's a lot of purple there, and just about 4 out of 5. But you like what you like, so who knows. So I think that's all I'm working on right now. So let me take a look at my notes here and see. I think we're probably ready to move on to our fiber-related children's literature book. So today I have a special treat because I was treated to a copy of this book and a copy of this book for you. So we're going to have a giveaway, and I think maybe I'll just do it from comments below. That's a pretty easy way to do it. So anybody can just comment below. Please, if you're going to comment, click the like button right before you do it. That would be nice to get the podcast out there a little bit more. That tends to get it shown as recommended. So I would appreciate that. And then it doesn't matter what you say. Just make a comment, and that will be your entry to receive your copy of this book. So let me show it to you. It's called Just Like You, Little Lamb, written by Melissa Dahlke. I'll show you the name there. I'm not sure if that's how it's pronounced. This book is available on Amazon. I was going to order it, and then she sent it to me and sent me 2 copies. So that means that you guys get one too. And I really appreciate this. This is a sweet story, and it would be very good for young children. It follows a pattern. At first, little lamb had wobbly legs. And then the next page always says, just like you. So for young children, you know, when it brings it back to them, and it's making this comparison that, you know, we are alike, you know, creatures are alike in many ways. But there is a very special treat at the end of this book, is a pattern to make your own little lamb. Look at that. How cute. I'm dying to knit this. I just think it's precious. But it's the entire pattern, and there's your finished little lamb. So I think anybody who would like to knit that little lamb or have this little story to share with someone, as always, when there's a pattern, what a nice gift that would be to have the book and knit the pattern up and present it as a gift. It'd be just a wonderful new baby gift. So if you are interested in receiving this copy, please just respond with some kind of a comment and a like down below, and we'll do that the next podcast. I'll draw for a winner. So what else do we have to do today? Let me have a look at my notes. Well, I had mentioned, I guess I already have, I was going about how I'm picking socks this year, that I'm actually letting my grandson do it. Let me grab the basket. Sorry, I hit the tripod there. See if we can get it back. So I put out a lot of the ones that I really want to get knit up this year into a basket. I laid them out so that he could see them all. And if for some reason, let's say, you know, he picks a whole bunch of that fall in a row, I'll pull one out the next month so he doesn't have that as a choice if for some reason I don't want to knit something. But I have quite a few sock sets in here, and I would like to get some of them knit up along with a bunch of others from the shelf and those Desert Vista Dye Works socks. So moving along there, and hopefully don't get myself too much in a pickle with too many projects going on, but probably that will happen. So we have some giveaways. Let me pull that out. Let's see, first of all, our oldies make along, where you were using an old pattern or old fabric or old yarn that you'd had that you really wanted to get used up. And in that entry, we had actually done it before and then just continued with it again by request. So we finished off last time, it was 2 through 155, so I'm starting at 156, and it went through 193. I did lock that thread, and a random number generator came up with number 181, which is IMECOLL, and she knit this Primavera caplet or capelet. I think it's caplet, and I'm gonna try to put the picture of it in here because that was so pretty. I thought that looked like a really useful little caplet. Okay, in our sock thread, which I have closed, we ended with I think 1,333. So, and we went through 1,492, and random number generator picked 1,415, and that is Timbuktu. And I do have yarn to send to you. I did bring it. Hold on. I was afraid I had left it in the other room. This is by Wild Hair Fiber Studios, and it is a 100-gram skein of fingering weight yarn in some beautiful blacks and grays and whites in that gorgeous pink. You can tell I like that color combination because you've got pretty close to what that shawl is. This is called Hope. It's a Pinnacle fingering weight. It's 25% superwash merino and 25% nylon, 460 yards. So that's for Kim Buck 2 and Kim Buck 2 and IMECOLL as well as the next winner. Please private message me in Ravelry, and I will I need your mailing address and your full name so that I can mail this out to you, and I will get that done as soon as I hear from you. And then the final one was the mittens, and that is, we had 2 through 58, and it random number generator picked 21, and that is Tabor Chick, and I will put her mittens here. If I remember correctly, she had done the same mitten pattern that I had just done, that World's Simplest Mittens by Tin Can Knits, and she's going to receive this mitten kit with all the different colors to make the stripes, and I think you can do other things instead of mittens if you don't want to do mittens with that. So those are our 3 winners, and if you all would send me a private message to Ravelry, I will get things mailed out to you. Now, I did start a new make-along, and I've already started it over there by request. I have a new member, and she had sent me a private message and asked what the next one was going to be. And I didn't know, so I asked her what would she like, and she had a few suggestions, and I thought, that all sounds like stuff to keep you warm. So I'm calling this winter warmers, anything that you can make that keeps you warm in the winter. So this is a long list. Hats, cowls, even little, headbandy things that cover your ears, gloves, mittens, socks, slippers, shawls, scarves. You decide if it keeps you warm in winter. But what I do ask is that each entry that you make as a finished object, and I don't think I put a finished object thread, I just started a chatter thread. I will start a finished object thread as well. And each project that you enter as a finished object, have it be at least 50 grams, which maybe you make some little mittens and they're only 25 grams. Then you make a second pair. Then put the 2 together, and just so that whatever you are entering used at least 50 grams of yarn. And then that's what it needs to be, something to keep you warm, and you used 50 grams of yarn. And I don't think there's any other qualifications there. And we will take this through to the first day of spring, because then we won't need those winter warmers. So that will be when I will stop that. I'm going to mention, I heard from another podcast that now on Ravelry, there is an option to make a thread chatter free. And I did see that option available. I have not done it, but I did see the option. So when I do the finished object thread, I am going to click that, which means that you can post, but you don't chatter back and forth. It's just, it makes it so much easier and more fair if there haven't been chatters in the finished object threads. And I know even for me, it's like, I've almost done it before. It's which one am I in, and gone back to check. And even when you do it and you delete it, it still keeps the post number there. So you might as well not delete it, because the number is still there. So it doesn't change the numbering. So if you can not chatter there and it's actually blocked from chattering, that's a good thing. So I hope it works. I don't know. I just heard about it. And so I was thinking about a new segment that might or might not be in every episode, and I thought that of calling this little segment Nobody Asked Me. In other words, I'm offering out my opinion there for something that nobody asked me my opinion, so who cares? So turn it off if you don't want to hear what I think. But you know how it's sometimes so much easier to focus on negative than positive. We just remember the negative so much. And I spent all last year trying to refocus and think about the positive. So I'm going to always try to be positive in the way that I put this out here. But do you ever knit in a pattern and find that there's an instruction that's not been made clear to you or even given to you. And so then you're out there searching around for, okay, what is this? How do I do it? And sometimes in patterns, they will even tell you, oh, go check out this blog, or this video, this short YouTube video will show you. Well, you know what happens? Sometimes those get pulled down, or your link doesn't work. And then there you are, you've paid for a pattern frequently. If I haven't paid for the pattern, I don't have any damage. That was a gift, and you don't say anything about a gift. But when I've paid for a pattern and something's in there that I'm then left stuck with, I somehow think that's not quite right. Nobody asked me, but if I was writing a pattern, if I was going to link a video or a vlog or a blog, I would make sure it was my own, that I had control over that, to know that it was always going to be there. When you knit a very pink knits pattern, she has her own video that goes with it. She gives you the link to it, and it always works. That's great. That's perfect. That's full support. You've paid for something, and sometimes her patterns, she has free patterns that she has all that wonderful video support showing you exactly what she means. And not that you have to do video. I just mean that you shouldn't leave somebody, I feel like you shouldn't be left out there hanging with, well, what does that mean? I had another example, a good example. One of the Shawl Society patterns was made with a garter tab. And not everybody's made a garter tab, but I remember, the directions were actually fairly clear. But I guess there was confusion, and Helen Stewart made a little video and said, here's what I mean, do this. And she's showing how she does it so that it takes away that ambiguity that sometimes our words have, where it could be interpreted in more than one way, or it could be confused. So I appreciate when pattern makers do that, and I think when it's a paid for pattern, it shouldn't just leave you hanging, or even at the end of a bind off, do a stretchy bind off. Well, no, don't tell me to do a stretchy bind off. Tell me how you did your stretchy bind off. What one did you use? Because if you say use a stretchy bind off such as this and give me directions, I can then say, oh, well, I've got a stretchy bind off, I'd rather use this. But when you just say use one, I think that's kind of a fall down on a pattern. Cast on 3 stitches. Why don't you tell me, do you want a cable cast on? Do you want me to do a long tail cast on? How should I cast it on? Because it leaves me wondering. So nobody asked me, and maybe you'd rather not hear that from me. Let me know if that's the case. But it was just something that was kind of, hitting me wrong, and I just think that if it was me making a pattern, I would try to be as complete. I would assume people know nothing, so that hopefully my pattern is easy to understand. So thank you so much for stopping by today. If you've stayed this long, I appreciate you making it to the bitter end and with my new segment. And I hope to hear from a lot of you down below in the comments for a chance to win that book, Just Like You, Little Lamb. And that I hear from the people who are prize winners so that I can get those prizes mailed out to you. I hope winter's treating you well, or if you're in the southern hemisphere, that your summer's treating you well. Bye.